what was Electrioautomotive's adapter plate at the time, back in the 90s. And they made a really quality piece of adapter plates. What they did, they had the taper lock, which a taper lock has got a little, it's a taper here, and when you tighten the screws, it pulls this together and tightens down on the shaft. And it tightens up so much on the shaft, you don't need a set screw or anything else. When this thing locks in, it pulls together, and it works kind of like pulling like a stopper in a bottle. The further in it goes, the tighter it gets. So this is like the quality, the best quality adapters that I've seen that way. Now this was for VW, and you put the VW flywheel over that. This is that big nut that holds the flywheel on to the shaft. Now to take this thing apart, because when it's locked on with these Allen screws, there's 4 Allen screws in here. When this is locked on, to get it apart, you put some washers down in here and slowly tighten this up, and what that does is that pushes these 2 pieces apart. And when the Allen screws pull them together, and this pushes them back apart. And this came apart pretty good, even though I think it's been together for 10 years, 20 years maybe. And of course the nice thing is that both Porsche and VW have the same pattern. So this was our spacer that spaces the motor out, the flywheel out enough. And then we've got our other part of our plate. So this bolts right up to a right up to the Hyper 9 motor, or a 9-inch or 11-inch, or a Kostoff, depending on which. They all had the same pattern. On top of this goes this part, and this was part of their design. You got this part for the motor, and then this part would go for different types of cars. And at the time they just had the S10 and the VW. And then we've got these screws here that bolt that down, and that way everything clears the flywheel. Now you have to adjust this part right here up and down enough to get your flywheel where you want it. Flywheel usually wants to be very close to this plate, and you can figure that out when you got your gas engine, or just put it together and see that the clutch works. Usually you get a good bit of varying there. So there we have it.